Hello, welcome to this HiCAD short clip. In this video, I want to present the spirals or helices. I want to demonstrate that with the help of a useful example. I want to create a worm conveyor. We have a cylindrical and a conical part. We are going to use 3D Sketch. And the spirals function can be found in the same place as before. The spiral itself has not much to do with the original spirals, as the input options are greatly more transparent than in the past. I want to determine the axis via the two centers. The start point is the quad point up here. I could choose to have a regular gradient, like a helix. I could also decide to have a variable gradient and start with a lead of 100 and end on 250. I thus receive a degressive spiral. You can also enter the diameter. You can pick the distance too and write it in the dialog window. The direction of windings can be selected, anti-clockwise or clockwise, and it is anti-clockwise by default. The height of the spiral can be picked from the axis. You can switch between which value you find the most important and want to edit. And you can of course select a cylindrical shape or a conical shape, which we will discuss in a bit. You can also modify the ends, similarly or variably. Moreover, you have the option to have this segment in the helix or as a projection. I choose to create it for now. Apart from the value entry, this was everything that has been possible in the past too. The new feature is that I can always go back. I do not have to delete or recreate the spiral if I want to edit it, but I can change the parameters here. I can enter the dialog window again and can make changes and confirm them as often as I like. If you are going to create a 3D geometry of the spiral via sweep part, you will be able to change it subsequently. You can enter variables for the value, for example for the diameter, D88.9. If I hold the cursor over the field for a while, it displays the value for the variable. Here too, the height H953, lead 100. Everything we might be wanting to change in the 3D geometry later on, we can replace with variables. For now, I click on OK. The spiral has not been changed yet, of course. Now we are going to sweep the part. I want to have the spiral as direction specification, more specifically via this edge. And now I want to create a cross-section of the sketch and say 2 times 100. This is the cross-section for my worm conveyor. I then click on Apply. It assigns the variables to the swept part. I could already change it, but I apply it for now. We have now created a spiral and could change it respectively via the part variables. I have entered 100 for the lead to begin with, but now I might decide on 80. I received the changed version right away. This is my original sketch. I can either delete it or hide it. I can delete it because it is saved in the feature log. As I said, you can always modify the part variables and the geometry changes itself directly. The second part is the conical part, which we would also create via 3D sketch. I select spirals again, and I pick the distance from center to center. Axis length is important here. Okay, but first I need to find a start point. Sure. I always have to check the prompts on the bottom left. I surely need the start point, which I have forgotten now. I want to place the start point right here, where the other spiral left off. I thus have the axis length, which I have picked earlier. I can also edit it subsequently in order to receive an even value if it has entered an odd value, as in my case here. I want a conical shape, and I could pick the diameter again. For the upper part, it's 159, but in the lower part there is a ledge. This means that 88.9 are no longer accurate. Therefore, I pick the distance again at Z and measure both quad points. One here, and the other there. And receive the right diameter. I could also begin to edit the spiral in order to receive a variable gradient. I want to start at 250. That's where we left off with the other spiral. And then I want to go up to 300. Hence, creating a digressive spiral. I could of course assign different variables in order to change them later on in the 3D drawing. But as we have already seen the procedure, I'm just going to confirm the spiral and use sweep part again. Once more I have the edge of the spiral as direction specification. I want to create a sketch for the cross-section again. I apply this cross-section. I select my sketch and close it neatly at the quad point. I lengthen the line to this point, and the excess length will be removed. Now I create my spiral. I have a clean transition and a digressive spiral, or worm conveyor, starting at the bottom and right to the top. You could subsequently load the guideline and enter the dialog window via the spiral to make changes and then you can replace the guideline here. You could also enter variables to control it with those. Okay, that's all regarding the spirals. If you are interested, be sure to check out the other videos regarding the improvements. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.